The old Victorian house stood silent on Maple Street, its windows dark against the evening sky. Inside, shadows danced across empty rooms, and the floorboards creaked with memories of lives once lived. Sarah had been gone for 3 months now. 3 months since the accident that stole her from this world, from her home, from him. But she hadn't truly left. Not completely. She existed now as something between worlds, caught in the space where love refused to let go. Her form was translucent, like moonlight on water, visible only to one person in all the world. The one person whose heart called to hers across the veil of death itself. Marcus sat in the living room they had once shared, his broad shoulders hunched forward as he stared at the fireplace. The fire crackled softly, casting warm light across. His weathered face, his dark hair was longer now, unkempt, and his eyes held the hollow look of a man who had lost everything that mattered. "You're here again," he said quietly, not turning around. His voice was rough from disuse, thick with grief. Sarah materialized slowly beside the mantelpiece, her ethereal form shimmering into focus. She wore the same blue dress she had died in, the fabric seeming to move with its own ghostly breeze. Her long brown hair floated around her shoulders as if she were underwater. "I'm always here," she whispered, her voice like wind through autumn leaves. "You know that." Marcus finally looked at her, and the pain in his green eyes was almost unbearable. He was an alpha werewolf, strong and commanding, but grief had humbled him. The supernatural community respected his power, feared his strength, but none of that mattered now. None of it could bring her back. "The pack is worried about you," Sarah said, moving closer but not quite touching him. She couldn't touch him, not really. Her ghostly fingers would pass right through his skin, a reminder of everything they had lost. "Let them worry," Marcus replied, turning back to the fire. "They don't understand. They care about you, about us. They want to help." Marcus laughed bitterly. "Help? How can they help when they can't even see you, when they think I'm talking to empty air, losing my mind with grief?" This was their daily struggle. Sarah existed in a world visible only to Marcus, her mate, her other half. The supernatural bond between them, forged in love and strengthened by their werewolf nature, was the only thing keeping her tethered to this realm, but it was also their torment. To everyone else, Marcus appeared to be a man haunted by memories, talking to shadows. They saw him as broken, unstable. The pack elders whispered about finding him a new mate, about the need to move on. They couldn't understand that Sarah wasn't just a memory. She was here, present, real, in every way that mattered to him. "I went to see Rebecca today," Sarah said softly, referring to Marcus's sister. Marcus tensed. "What did she say?" "She's planning an intervention. She thinks you need professional help." The words hung heavy in the air between them. Marcus closed his eyes, running his hands through his hair. "They all think I'm crazy." "You're not crazy," Sarah said firmly. "I'm here. We both know I'm here." But even as she said it, doubt crept into her voice. What if this wasn't real? What if she was just a manifestation of Marcus's grief, a ghost created by his inability to let go? The thought terrified her more than death itself. Days passed in this strange limbo. Sarah watched as Marcus grew more isolated, more withdrawn from the world of the living. The pack members stopped visiting. Rebecca called less frequently. Even old friends seemed to drift away, unsure how to help a man who insisted on talking to someone who wasn't there. Sarah tried to make herself useful, to justify her existence. She would warn Marcus about dangers he couldn't see, tell him about conversations happening in other rooms. But these small acts felt hollow when weighed against the growing concern of everyone around him. One evening, As autumn rain pelted the windows, Marcus sat at the kitchen table with his head in his hands. Sarah hovered nearby, aching to comfort him, but unable to provide the physical touch he needed. "Maybe they're right," he said quietly. "Maybe I am losing my mind." "Don't say that," Sarah pleaded. "Please don't say that." "Look at me, Sarah. Really look at me. I'm talking to someone no one else can see. I'm rejecting help from people who care about me. I'm falling apart." Sarah felt something shift inside her chest, a loosening of the bonds that kept her here. His doubt was like acid, eating away at the love that anchored her to this world. "Marcus, look at me," she said urgently. He raised his head, and for a moment she seemed more solid, more real than she had in weeks. "Do you remember our first date?" she asked. A ghost of a smile crossed his lips. "The movie theater. You insisted on paying for your own ticket." "And you bought me popcorn anyway," Sarah continued. "Extra butter, just how I liked it. You said it was because you were old-fashioned, but really it was because you wanted to take care of me." "I did want to take care of you," Marcus said, his voice growing stronger. "I still do." "Then take care of yourself," Sarah said simply. "Take care of the man I fell in love with, the alpha who was strong enough to love a human woman, the man who showed me that fairy tales could be real." Marcus stood up, moving toward her. "But if I get better, if I move on, will you disappear?" Sarah considered this, feeling the truth settle in her heart like a stone. "Maybe," she admitted. "But Marcus, I'm not really living, and neither are you." "I don't know how to let go," he whispered. "You don't have to let go of our love," Sarah said. "Just let go of the pain, let go of the guilt, live the life I can't have anymore." Something changed in the air around them. The bond that had kept Sarah trapped between worlds began to shift, becoming something different, not weaker, but transformed. "I'll always be with you," she said, her form beginning to fade slightly. "In here," she gestured toward his heart. "But you need to be with the living too." Marcus nodded slowly, understanding flooding his eyes. "Will I see you again?" "In dreams," Sarah promised, "in memories, in the wind that moves through the trees we planted together, in the way the sunlight falls across our garden." As she spoke, Sarah began to dissolve, but the process was peaceful now, like snow melting in spring sunlight. The love between them remained, but it was no longer desperate and clinging. It had become something beautiful and eternal. "I love you," Marcus said. "I love you too," Sarah replied, her voice growing distant. "Now go live. Live for both of us." The last thing she saw was Marcus straightening his shoulders, the alpha strength returning to his posture. He walked to the phone and dialed his sister's number. "Rebecca," he said when she answered. "It's Marcus. I think I'm ready to accept some help." Sarah smiled as she finally, peacefully let go. Months later, Marcus stood in their garden, now flourishing under his care. The pack had welcomed him back, and while he would always carry Sarah's memory in his heart, he had learned to live again. Sometimes, on quiet evenings when the wind was just right, he could swear he heard her laughter carried on the breeze. And sometimes, in the space between sleeping and waking, he would see her face in his dreams, smiling with the love that transcended even death itself. Their bond had not broken. It had simply transformed, becoming something that honored both. Love and life, memory and hope. Sarah had found her peace, and in doing so, she had given Marcus permission to find his.